Sometimes the world feels like it's trying to wash something away, but some stories refuse to disappear. The night was heavy with rain, not the soft kind that whispers against rooftops, but the kind that pounds the city like a warning. Somewhere in the darkness, a metal dumpster lid slammed shut. Then came a sound, a cry, thin, strained, fragile. Not the strong wail of a newborn demanding life, but the trembling whimper of a child already fighting for it. Wrapped in a faded arrow fabric, a tiny infant lay abandoned in the storm. One small hand reached out from the bundle, but something about the arm was different, shorter than it should have been. The tiny fingers curled tightly, as if already bracing against a world that would not understand him. And then, a voice, soft, gentle, remembering. They called you a curse. They said you were a door that was never meant to be opened. 20 years passed. The rain was gone now. In its place stood a quiet apartment filled with sunlight. By the window stood a young man named Vince. 20 years old today, well-dressed, calm, composed. In his hand was a cup of coffee. His left arm rested carefully in his pocket, a habit learned over time, a shield, a shadow. On the small table beside him sat a birthday cake. One candle, 20 years. Across the room, a photograph hung on the wall. An older woman smiled from the frame, the nurse who had found him, the woman who raised him, the woman who believed he was never a curse. But the corner of the photo carried a black ribbon now. She was gone. Vince looked at the picture quietly. Then he spoke. 2 decades, Ma. Still here. Still impossible. A soft thud broke the silence. The mail slot rattled. Something had been delivered. Vince walked toward the door. On the floor lay a single envelope, heavy, cream-colored. There was no stamp, no return address. Only one thing written across the front in perfect sweeping handwriting. Vincent, his full name. The name only one person ever used. His foster mother. A quiet unease settled in his chest. He carried the envelope to the kitchen counter. Slowly, carefully, he opened it. Inside was a card. On the front was a painting. A crossroad, 2 paths splitting apart, disappearing into a dark forest. Vince opened the card, and the moment he read the words inside, his breath caught. Written in red ink were the words, "We didn't leave you because we hated you. We left you because we were afraid of what lived inside you. Happy 20th birthday, survivor. We are watching." The card slipped from his hand. For the first time that morning, the apartment felt different. Not bright, not peaceful, but watched. Kobe rushed to the window and looked down at the street below. Crowds moved through the city as usual. People walking, cars passing, life continuing. But one man stood perfectly still, tall, wearing a gray fedora, looking directly up at Vince's window. Vince froze. The man slowly tipped his hat, just enough for Vince to see something chilling, a jagged scar across the man's wrist. Then, without a word, the stranger turned and disappeared into the subway entrance. Vince stepped back from the window, his heart racing. He grabbed the card again, turning it over, and there, at the bottom, in tiny, almost invisible print, were numbers, coordinates, and a time. 6.4547 north, 3.3888 east, 10 o'clock tonight. Vince whispered the words as realization settled in. The old hospital. And suddenly one question filled the room. The first choice is always the hardest. Do you run away or follow the ghosts? Episode 2 coming soon. Subscribe to follow the story.